Michael Dunlop on row 2 of the grid. Farquhar, Guy Martin and brother William well aware of the fact as they blast off. And already Michael Dunlop looked like she passed Guy Martin. This is the view looking back from Ryan Farquhar. Confirms that as they plant their front wheels firmly back down. Second wave away. Brian McCormack away sharpish. So too Steve Mercer and Michael Sweeney. But the front runners are at Gortin. Farquhar up the inside of William Dunlop, but not far enough as Wilson Craig's man tips in first with Michael Dunlop third and Guy Martin fourth ahead of Archibald and Burrows. Oh, Guy Martin's past Michael Dunlop, who we ride with, and he's just mugged Ryan Farquhar. Now, there were yellow flags out, and yet Guy Martin went past both Dunlop and Ryan Farquhar. Maybe he didn't see them. Pierce at the back is in the gutter. Well, we're back with Michael Dunlop on the run to Mackney. That's where Guy Martin ran wide last year. He's right on the exhaust of William Dunlop. Traditionally, not an overtaking place, although we did see a couple of successful moves last year. Everyone content to play it patient this time. We now ride with Irish bike racing stalwart John Burrows, approaching the most spectacular part of the circuit. And if you've never watched the Cookstown before, you're in for a treat as the bikes go airborne. That's why there are so many people crammed in around here. Back at Mackney, it's McCormack who leads the second wave, followed by Mercer, Jamie Hamilton, the distinctive Davey Morgan, Derek McGee with Michael Sweeney bringing up the rear. Leaders at Orator at the end of the opening lap. It's still William Dunlop from Guy Martin, Ryan Farquhar third, Michael Dunlop fourth, and Adrian Archibald out of his seat momentarily. But it's William Dunlop who will start lap 2 as he did lap 1, and that's first across the line, but he's being pushed hard by Guy Martin. Oh, and Martin flies past and into the lead. Well, maybe Dunlop will come inside again. It's all about who is the last to hit the brakes in time. Guy Martin has the inside line. Here they go. It's going to be Guy Martin who leads then from William Dunlop. So Guy Martin is our new race leader as we ride with Farquhar, looking back at Michael Dunlop in fourth. What a start to this race. The yellow flags are still out from Gortin to Mackney, and that's because the air fence is on the road and not further back as it may have been. Well, Guy Martin leads them at McAdoo. They're all still fairly packed in amongst each other, the top 5 anyway. A hint perhaps, though, that Martin is pulling away. If he is, then Ryan Farquhar is looking to go with him as he applies the pressure to William Dunlop. Dunlop keeps him at bay, though. Farquhar, the filling in the Dunlop sandwiches. They make their way around Mackney before twisting back the throttle, as Ryan Farquhar does as we look back from his bike, which may not have as much power as the other ones around him. That may not be an issue on the majority of this circuit, the exception perhaps the blast down to Gortin. Riding with William Dunlop as his front end pops up momentarily. His front forks going up and down to show you how bumpy the surface is around here. I've noticed the stretch from Gortin to Mackney's been resurfaced, and talking of stretches, Guy Martin looks to have stretched his advantage over the chasing pack as they come to complete lap 2. And this is where Farquhar may lose out as William Dunlop struggles to keep his front wheel on the road. That may cost him as Ryan Farquhar comes through, does he? It's all about slowing down for the approaching bend. There is Farquhar. Oh no, William's going to get him though.
Yeah, so Michael Pearson.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. It's Guy Martin who will be first into Gortin, followed by William Dunlop. Ryan Farquhar in third place. Well, the yellow flag is still out, so there shouldn't be any overtaking on this stretch to McAdoo. You'll see the barrier just on the right, and that's what's concerning officials. There it is. So everyone behaves themselves through there, but one or two may just have a word to say with Guy Martin at the end of this race, especially if he does cross the line first. Farquhar still third, with Michael Dunlop still in hot pursuit in fourth, with Adrian Archibald in fifth and John Burrows in sixth. Martin continuing to pull away at the front, it seems, while Farquhar protecting his line, making sure Michael Dunlop doesn't make any cheeky moves at Mackney. And it's a face full of Ryan Farquhar for Michael Dunlop, who said recently his wild style riding days are behind him. He's been good to his word so far in this one, but then again, how long will he be happy to settle for fourth place behind Farquhar? Another quick stretch on this 2.1 mile long circuit, the run to Craig Mountain, then the Orator Crossroads, and perhaps Dunlop's best hope of passing Farquhar is across the finish line. And the long straight down to Gortin, he needs to be right on his rear right now, and Michael Dunlop is doing just that. So here we go again then. Can William keep his front wheel down? No is the answer to that again, and Farquhar smells blood, but has he got enough speed to hold off Dunlop into Gortin? He didn't last time. Here they go. Farquhar on the inside, William Dunlop on the outside. It looks like Farquhar is through. Kept to the right-hand side of the road to protect his line from Dunlop. Full credit to Farquhar, managing to overtake on the part of the track where he may be weaker than anyone else. Well, that was the yellow flag. No overtaking along here. The road narrows where the blue air fence is, and that's why the flags are out. No problems from this point. They can race again as they come out of McAdoo, and that's what they're doing. William Dunlop back to third, and under pressure from Michael in fourth. Guy Martin at Magny holds the Superlight lap record at Cookstown, but I think the track temperature at present is just a touch too cold to see that broken today. Now we're coming up to the tight part, certainly tight along this section as Michael Dunlop looks for a gap to exploit. His brother, though, is just not making it easy for him. William perhaps struggling to control the power across the start-finish line, and that may be, just as Farquhar discovered, Michael Dunlop's best chance of moving into third place. We'll have to wait and see. We're back on board with Michael. So we're coming up to complete lap 4 of 6. I mentioned too for Adrian Archibald on the AMA Racing Kawasaki, still sticking with the big guns in 5th place. His glory days may be behind him as we switch to Michael Dunlop. Now, can he exploit the booking bronco that is William Dunlop? And the answer is no, nothing doing this time. This is Michael's first outing on the McAdoo Kawasaki. He'll have to be patient from now on. William protecting his line into Gorton. Michael Dunlop will just have to tuck in behind his brother. Adrian Archibald still right in there as well. And maybe Michael Dunlop going through. And again, yellow flags out and Michael Dunlop passes William Dunlop. It could be a very interesting post-race meeting. William Dunlop is now back in 4th, having been overtaken by both his brother and Guy Martin, while yellow flags were being displayed. Well, Farquhar in 2nd place, 3.5 seconds behind Guy Martin at the end of the last lap, and with time running out, it looks like the race winner may have been decided. If Guy Martin does indeed cross the line first, will there be any protest? We'll have to wait and see. Farquhar in 2nd place, meanwhile, pulling away from the Dunlop boys. And William Dunlop, well, he looks to be the rider. He's going to lose out. Started the race in pole position, but is now back in 4th place. That's who we ride with. So we come to Craig Mount. Guy Martin at Orator, and Ryan Farquhar, certainly from the body language, doesn't look as if he's given up on catching the race leader. Ditto Michael Dunlop for getting 2nd place. Now then, Michael Dunlop, in the past he used to come onto the straight right out into the gutter there, but he's been much tighter in this race, so are we seeing the all-new for 2012 Michael Dunlop? Still aggressive on the brakes as he looks to reel in or certainly get closer to Ryan Farquhar. And Adrian Archibald applying some pressure to William Dunlop now for 4th place. This is the view of Gorton from John Burrows, 8.5 seconds behind Guy Martin at the end of the last lap. And the surface along this stretch much smoother through here than it has been in the past. Guy Martin into McAdoo for the last time in this race, still pursued by Farquhar and Dunlop. However, I think it's going to take a mistake or some kind of mechanical issue with the bikes to change the outcome of this race, certainly regarding the top 3. We're on board with Michael Dunlop, and it really must be too big an ask to catch Farquhar with just over a mile to go. His brother William looks to have a fight in his hands to keep Adrian Archibald at bay. Well, Guy Martin has got this one nailed, his first competitive ride since last year's Ulster Grand Prix. Ryan Farquhar in 2nd, with Michael Dunlop 3rd, and William Dunlop, well, he should hold on to 4th place ahead of Adrian Archibald. Just the right-left flip-flop combination for Guy Martin to negotiate before he sees the checkered flag. And it's victory for Guy Martin. But there may be some inquiry into the manner in which it was won. We'll have to wait and see. William Dunlop will cross the line in 4th place, will he? Ahead of Adrian Archibald. He does. Now then, will there be any kind of reaction from Farquhar to Guy Martin on the slowing down lap? Well, Martin looks around. Some communication going on. And we may have to wait for the helmets to come off to see how heated that is. Well, confirmation of the result then. Adrian Archibald a solid 5th place just behind William Dunlop. Michael Dunlop on the podium in 3rd. Ryan Farquhar 2nd, 3 seconds behind Guy Martin. Michael Dunlop providing the pictures as we're told to engage gear. And then it should be the sign to watch the lights. There we go. We have blast off. Farquhar hopping and skipping, so too Michael Dunlop, but it's William Dunlop who plants his front wheel firmly down on the tarmac to get as much traction as possible. He's side by side with Farquhar. Here they go down to Gorton as the second wave is away. Good starts for Derek McGee and John Burrows. Not so Davey Morgan. and it's all about hitting the brakes as late as you can. Guy Martin's passed Michael Dunlop for third. No yellow flags this time, so no controversy, hopefully, at the end of this race. We're back with Michael Dunlop. He's in fourth, and even though this section's been surfaced, or resurfaced I should say, it's still quite bumpy. Oh, Farquhar leads at McAdoo. Ryan Farquhar leads, so he's passed William Dunlop. Guy Martin third, Michael Dunlop fourth, as they go into Mackney. Supersport class always provides close racing, unless of course you've got Ryan Farquhar in the mood that he's in today at Cookstown. Looks like he's pulling away again. Here comes Burrows on 16.71, Davy Morgan, two of the many unsung heroes of Irish road racing, even though they may not be in the spotlight as much as those at the front, and those at the front are heading down to Orator. Oh, not Guy Martin, he's pulled up. That seemed to happen immediately at the Craigmount turn. So it's now the local riders filling the top three positions. Oh, as Brian McCormack goes wide on the exit, took it right out to the edge, and it's game over for Guy Martin on what's been an eventful day so far. A controversial win on the Superbike in the open race, and now a non-finish in the Supersport, although he'd rather that happen now than at the forthcoming Northwest 200. Farquhar still being pursued by those fabulous Dunlop boys, and all three being spurred on by a large and very enthusiastic crowd of spectators. We're on board with Michael Dunlop, lap record holder. He set that last year around here. It has to be said, Farquhar looking very comfortable out front. Looks to have found a nice quick rhythm that he's happy with, and one which is keeping William Dunlop at a very respectable distance. The slightest mistake or change of momentum could alter all of that in an instant. The less powerful Supersport bike's much easier to control than the Superbikes, as William Dunlop's been demonstrating. Ivan Shanley on bike 25 contesting 7th place with Michael de Koopel, who's in the third group. These races are a sort of combined race and time trial with the times tutted up, so being in second and third, or in the second and third waves, not necessarily a disadvantage, although the quicker guys tend to be in the first group. And here's the proof as we ride with Michael Dunlop. It's advantage Farquhar. He's pulling a second a lap on the Dunlop, so it looks like his 600 is running more to his satisfaction than either William or Michael are enjoying right now. Farquhar fairly smooth as he rounds Craigmount and heads down to the Orator Crossroads, while William Dunlop looked as if he hopped, skipped and jumped into the turn. Maybe that's a bit harsh, but he certainly bounced more than Farquhar on the exit. It's another lap marked off for Farquhar, and another one closer to victory. Ivan Shanley now has Davy Morgan behind him. John Burrows has been passed. These three enjoying a good little dice. William Dunlop still unable to make any inroads into Farquhar. Just look at those forks working up and down. Very bumpy through this part. Ryan Farquhar through. He runs his own team nowadays, as he has done for the past 2 seasons. Incidentally, this is his 20th season of racing, possibly his last Cookstown meeting, but we've heard that in the past before. Maybe he means it this time. We'll have to wait and see. As Davy Morgan is on the move again, he's now past Shanley as they make their way around McAdoo. Well, Farquhar looking sublime, leaving the Dunlop boys behind him. 22 wins around Cookstown going into this meeting, which is the combined total achieved by Robert and Joey Dunlop, who had 11 apiece. And we're with young Michael as he goes in pursuit of his brother. You just can't help but make comparisons between the two boys. William quiet like Joey, Michael with that cheeky glint in his eye at times, just like Father Robert. It's rather spooky, the similarities, but they've all got one thing in common, of course: the will to win. This one, though, seemingly going the way of Ryan Farquhar. 4.2 seconds, the advantage for Farquhar. It's gone up by 1.2 a second on the previous lap. He's posted another 1 minute 25 second lap, while both Dunlops are in the 126s still. So into Gorton, Michael Dunlop, though, one thing in his mind, and that's brother William. Certainly both William and Michael will be looking to find that extra second a lap. They're losing to Farquhar. That's a lot over a short circuit such as Cookstown, and will be even more over the much bigger Northwest 200 circuit, so they may have their work cut out between now and mid-May. But as I said before, I suspect all that's on Michael's mind at this moment is catching his brother. Well, Morgan's pulled a second or two on Shanley and Burrows as they negotiate their way through McAdoo. Oh, Michael's definitely catching William. The gap was 1.5 seconds at the end of the previous lap, but that's come right down this time. And while Farquhar looks to have this race sewn up, second place still very much up for grabs. Last lap then, Michael Dunlop may just catch and pass his brother. Doesn't seem to be gaining going down into Gorton. There was a second between them at the end of lap 2. It went out to 1.5, but Michael's bitten a chunk out of that. And there was just 0.7 of a second between them that time, so he's reduced the gap by more than half on that last lap, so it is doable. What's not doable in this race is stopping this man, it seems. And here come the Dunlops. The gap is practically nothing, so Michael Dunlop is right on his brother's pipe. Plenty of movement from Williams' right arm, maybe some discomfort, perhaps the forearm muscle tightening. As they go down into Mackney. Oh, yellow flag, so no overtaking here. Oh, and a red flag as well. There's another one, so the race comes to a premature halt on the very last lap. That means the result will be declared from the end of the last lap. Confirmation of the result there. Brian McCormack in 4th place ahead of Adrian Archibald. Michael Dunlop 3rd, William Dunlop 2nd, and Ryan Farquhar top of the pile. Time to get serious though, as the grid is cleared ahead of the last big race of the day, the Cookstown 100. We're all set then for what promises to be a corker, and hopefully less controversial superbike race than we saw earlier today, as away we go. Riding with Ryan Farquhar in his 4-year-old Superstock machine, looking back at Guy Martin and Michael Dunlop, with Adrian Archibald threatening and William Dunlop slipping to the back. Well, he has elected to ride his 600 in this race, but it's Farquhar who leads them into Gorton for the first time. But who will follow in second? It looks like Guy Martin, with Michael Dunlop slotting into 3rd. Adrian Archibald and John Burrows squabbling over 4th as we get on the power with Michael Dunlop. Both he and Guy Martin on superbike machines. Farquhar on his Superstock, which doesn't have the top end of the other bikes. But then again, this circuit is something of a leveller. It certainly doesn't have the long, wide open roads of the Triangle course at the northwest. This track, in parts, much more stop-start. Farquhar into Mackney, being pursued by Martin and Dunlop, and then it's Archibald, Burrows and Pearson. We're riding with John Burrows, the Cookstown BE Racing Suzuki, once owned by the TAS boys. Farquhar airborne, so too the chasing pack. William Dunlop at the back and flapping his wings. Farquhar, Martin, Dunlop, and perhaps a hint of a gap opening between all three. Oh, John Burrows locks up, leaving a trail of rubber behind on the road. Slows down in time. Well, Michael Dunlop tearing toward Gorton, 2 targets ahead of him. Adrian Archibald close behind as well to keep him occupied. They tip into Gorton, and no one close enough to pull a pass, but another solid performance so far from Archibald on the superbike. That's the view looking back from Ryan Farquhar, with Guy Martin in hot pursuit. Farquhar, or his bike, suffering no ill effects following his tumble on this machine during practice, where he banged his knee, plus bent the bottom yoke of the bike. Now we see a replay of John Burrows' moment at Orator. Very much heart-in-mouth time. Well, certainly held his breath. And this is the same moment, but viewed from Burrows' bike. Well, Guy Martin certainly closing on Farquhar. Half a second at the end of lap 2, and it looks closer this time. As they approach Craig Mount, Farquhar could well have a job in his hands thwarting the attentions of Guy Martin. I think we're going to be talking 1/10 of a second at the end of this lap. And it's looking increasingly likely, or it looks increasingly like, I should say, a two-way scrap between this pair to win the big race of the day. Oh, 2/10 the advantage this time as Guy Martin halves Ryan Farquhar's advantage. And here he comes, looking to outbrake his rival into Gorton. But, oh, maybe he's applied too much power as he squirms his way down the slip road. Farquhar negotiates the turn, but that is that from Guy Martin. He threw the dice and lost, manages to keep it upright, He's not hit anything, so he can rejoin, but now it's all about time on the bike and no longer thoughts of getting a race win. Here we go again. He tries to use the extra superbike power of the Suzuki to get past Farquhar, but he couldn't slow it down in time. On board with William Dunlop, who's elected to have more time on the 600 bike, which he's riding in this race instead of the 1000cc. Obviously not happy with it after the Supersport race. Davey Morgan into McAdoo ahead of Michael Sweeney at the end of lap 3. That was the battle for 10th place, but they may be up on Martin now, who lost time. Farquhar far from happy at the end of the first Superbike race, and maybe that's providing the extra 1% he seems to have found over the rest of the field. We're back with William, who's been passed by Guy Martin, who must have lost around 15 seconds following that overshoot at Gortin. Dunlop on the less powerful 600 bike and looking to find that extra second a lap he was losing out on in the Supersport race. I suspect John Burrows will have Guy Martin on his case. Indeed he has, as the Taiko Suzuki rider looks to pass, and there's the difference between a new Suzuki Superbike and the one Burrows is riding, which is Bruce Anstey's old bike, which secured the lap record at Dundrod. Martin taking a wide line again, late on the brakes once more, but not as late as last time around. It's a brand new 2012 spec Honda for William Dunlop this year, certainly in both Supersport and Superbike, and that's why he's putting the miles in on this machine. And Burrows splashing out on the former TAS Suzuki, basically the same as Guy Martin's Superbike, but without any of the fancy electronics. It's certainly got some history, and Burrows hoping it will give him some great results again this year, just like he enjoyed last year at Killer Lane. Guy Martin riding on the rear of Michael Pearson, and Farquhar, well, he looks like he's going to make it a hat-trick. Here's the battle for 8th. Jamie Hamilton with Davey Morgan and Michael Sweeney for company. Guy Martin again opting for the wider approach into Gortin, squaring off the turn and almost coming together with Michael Pearson, who raises his hand. 2 into 1 certainly didn't go. Hamilton, Morgan and Sweeney still joined together, and I suspect they'll enjoy chatting about this one at the end of the day. And here's the replay of Guy Martin and Pearson, and proof that 2 certainly does not go into 1. Farquhar on his own out front at Magny. How many times have we seen that over the years? There's really only one line through McAdoo as well. Both men take that option. The pass has to happen just before the turn. Farquhar completely in the groove and coming up to slower traffic. Oh, Pearson perhaps a little hot into Magny. Guy Martin breathing down his neck. Michael de Koopel, who had a massive crash on this circuit last year, just ahead of Ryan Farquhar, who is going to win the Cookstown 100 yet again. Here he goes across the line, and that's the hat-trick for Farquhar. Delight for him, a good 4 seconds ahead of Michael Dunlop at the finish. Here's Adrian Archibald, this will be 3rd place for him, a super result for, dare I say, the veteran rider. Well, there's the difference in body language between 1st and 2nd place. Both men very much wear their hearts on their sleeves. Farquhar certainly worth a punt in the Super Stock category at the Northwest, while the likes of Michael Dunlop and possibly Guy Martin will be looking for improvements from their Superbikes in the next couple of weeks. Smiles for Archibald and Pearson, I'd imagine. Smirks from Dunlop and Martin, and a rather large grin from Ryan Farquhar, his 3rd win of the day. For the 4th time on the day with this victory. Jamie Hamilton and Michael Sweeney taking 2nd place, and Andy Farrell and John Burrows rounding out the top 5.